There's always something that music does to you, irrespective of whatever state you're in. It has a way of lifting your spirit, putting you in a good place. And that's a beautiful tune right there by Once More Six on a Hallel Africa stage. Amazing. We worship Adonai. Now let's get on with our big discussion for today. We're going to be talking about property price surge. Are you one of those people who feel like, okay, Accra is not the place that you can get properties because, I mean, it's just one troll after the other? Not necessarily Accra, but other major cities, even in Africa, many things contribute to pricing. And lots of people have lost hope in even acquiring properties because even to protect their properties from, external forces is quite expensive. And so today we want to really look at what it means to acquire property and actually protect your property. And we have a real estate broker who is from Global Housing TV, Kwabena Dako, in studio with us. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Yeah.
How you doing?
I'm good. And you?
I'm not bad.
Yeah.
By the grace of God, I'm alive.
It is well.
Gift of life is important than everything.
Most definitely.
Sure.
Gift of life. I mean, following all the crazy that we've seen in the news from yesterday till today.
It's not pleasant at all.
Right? Right?
It's so unfortunate.
But it is well. It is well. Now, I mean, as life goes on, people grow up, they want to acquire properties, and there are many things that comes with this. I know about, demand and supply. I know there is government has certain institutions that are supposed to regulate all these pricings and all of that. We don't see them to be at work. Even yesterday, we were talking about how certain people feel they have some authorities to price goods and services on the market. It's just it's a whole brouhaha about it. But it's good that we have you here, so that at least you can help us understand what it means, But take us through quickly what property value increase is and what should warrant that a property exists and then there's a value increment on it. Take us through the science of it.
Property value is when the benefits, or let me say the profit of the property exceeds the value or the cost of the property.
Okay, take us through that again.
When the proceedings, or the benefits or the profits of the property exceeds the cost of the property.
Of that property. So let's take a house. It costs you 300,000 Ghana cedis to
build a house.
To build that house.
And with
then
time,
over time, it costs maybe 600,000 Ghana cedis.
Then it's added value.
Right.
So we say the property has added value, and that becomes a profit for you.
I see.
At the end of the day, you are gaining more than the cost of that property.
What are the contributing factors to the value increment of such properties?
They are a lot.
Really?
I would say that, but today we're going to look at few that I think we cannot overlook.
Right.
Because we have a lot of people, I would say in Africa, a lot of people travel to diaspora with a mindset, the ultimate mindset of coming back to their home countries to at least do something for themselves or for their families.
Right.
And it all boils down to property. Right now, if you step out there to ask people, what is the first thing you're going to do when you get this amount of money? What would they tell you? Oh, I'll try and
build my house.
Exactly, where I can call my home. And a lot of factors goes into the surgeon of this, as you rightly asked me. And some of them are the development costs, the location, development costs, location, supply and demand, government policies, the economic conditions, as well as location.
Take me through the location. Does that mean that if I have a house in a certain part of the country it makes it also important than a house that is in another part of the country. I don't want to mention locations for people now send me messages that I'm insensitive, But how critical is location to the value of a property?
Location plays a very important role when you want to buy a property or when you want to rent, even renting. Location plays very vital role. Let's say in foreign countries it normally happens, but in Africa mostly, let me deduce it to Ghana where I am, it doesn't mostly happen because when someone gets a job or let's say someone is employed, the first thing the person thinks about is the proximity.
Right.
So mostly in the foreign countries, the person would just have to think of renting close to where
the work,
the job is. But here we overlook all these things.
Yeah.
But as you rightly asked, when we talk about location, location plays very important role. I would say is the primary drive for value on properties.
Okay.
Because at the location is where you're going to see all the important amenities and opportunities. For instance, if you have let's say you live in let me use East Legon as an example.
Right.
When you are in East Legon, there are certain things you wouldn't see. Talk about good roads, accessibility to convenient shops. Whatever you need at your comfort, you can find it around. But unlike other places that you have to take a car from where you are to another place before you can get access to all these things, especially with market. Let's take our local market, for instance. You need to go out there, let's say to Agbogbloshie or Makola. If you live in a place like, let me say, Ablekuma or something like that. You need to go down there to get what you want.
Yeah.
Or if you want to get clothes for yourself, how many good, let's say, clothes shops can you find in Ablekuma or something? But when you talk about East Legon, as I cited as an example, when you go out of your doorstep, you can have a lot to select from. So when we talk about location, it plays a very important role in choosing the property or renting.
But how then does, because I know the government is in the position or the reason we vote, some people would vote for governmental changes and all of that is because they want certain, policies that would sort of cushion their expenses when it comes to all of these things. What are some of the governmental reforms that citizens have not taken advantage of that is literally going against them when it comes to property pricing?
When it comes to the part of government, I would say it also plays a very vital role in adding value to properties. Because let's take it as government, let's use zoning, for instance.
Okay.
If government is zoning, let's say, an area, and it becomes a prime area for everyone, we look at the number of people who are going there, the class of people who are going there, and you ask yourself, would I be able to fit in or not? Because you love it if you are in this environment with this class of people.
Right.
So zoning from the government also plays a very vital role. Because at the end of the day, I would say the class of people living in an area also has effects on the kind of amenities that will be found in this environment.
Okay.
So the government policies also affect these things.
I see.
And we cannot do anything about it. And at the end of the day, this goes round in building the economy and also boost the economy, of which we cannot neglect them.
I see. How quick do they come in to check these prices? I'm talking mainly about houses. Because like you said, there are certain communities that only certain people can live in because of their, economic
the pocket
status
size
and all of that. Yeah, but there is also a regulation, okay? There's a Ghana Works and Housing and all of that that should regulate how pricing is done. But it looks as though landlords and real estate companies seem to have the upper hand. Where's the gap in there?
Yes, I think here it becomes a bit dicey because at the end of the day, these regulations are not fastened
Enforced?
enough or not enforced enough to work as it's supposed to.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, I will always use the foreign countries as an example or a case study. When you want to rent, you just go on your phone and you select which area you want to live, and the prices are automatically there.
Okay.
You just deal with the house owner or the agent directly on the app, and you just boom, everything is sorted, and you just carry your luggage and you move in.
Okay.
Unlike our part of the world, even let's look at let's say land acquisition. Land acquisition does not come easy because the custodians of the land has to come in, as well as the government bodies has to come in. And at the end of the day, all these things sum up to the value of the, the property.
The house, okay.
Because at the end of the day, I bought my land and I built my house with no help from the government or anyone. So I would decide on how much I want to price my property. And at the end of the day, whatever the government says is either I take it or I leave it, and nothing can happen to me.
Why is it that nothing can happen to you? Because these are policies.
Because these policies are not being enforced.
But it is incumbent on the citizens to actually, go by these policies. Is that not it? Do we need agencies to enforce them? It's as though you need police people in a certain area for crime to go down. We don't need that.
I think
these laws are established. We should just know them and go by them.
Yes, I think these people, these renting agencies or whatever, they're supposed to enforce these things. But at the end of the day, someone might tell you that even if someone's rent is due in a house or apartment, and the person's supposed to move out, the person's supposed to have some period of time to at least prepare to get out of the property. And when this happens, normally it causes a lot of friction because someone would say, I have to live in for a period of time to be able to get my place, another place before I leave out. I move out of the house or the apartment. And the owners of the houses are also saying that, no, I built my house and it's for me and I can decide on what to do. The government cannot tell me what to do.
That's where rent control comes in.
That is when rent control comes in. And at the end of the day, when rent control comes in, it's still under the owner or the house owner to decide whether he's going to listen to the rent control agency or not.
That's my problem. That is the gap right there. Because if there's rent control and it's supposed to be an institution that enforces the laws of the country, which is property laws, okay? There's a Rent Control Act 1986, okay, PNDC laws 138. Let me just read that real quick, and then we can go with that. But my point is, okay, so an act to regulate rent and to provide related matters, okay? The rent payable by tenant in respect to single or two-bedroom accommodation in any residential areas, premises shall be specified in the first schedule. So you're looking at, okay, you decide the pricing and all of that. But when it comes to being in that room, so that's why provision in any other enactment in the contrary and until oh no, I'm not getting the right. I want to really get the law so I can read it to you. Give me a minute. But that's what I'm trying to say, that in the Rent Control Act, you are supposed to go by it even as a landowner or a property owner, right? Yeah, so, exactly. So how it is that you mentioned that when it gets to that part, you decide whether to go by it or not. That's quite strange. I
said that
to me.
Because you can ask yourself, how many of these officers are going on the grounds to see if this is properly working?
But do we have to wait for the officers to come?
It's their job to enforce.
Right.
It's their job to enforce. Right. And they sit in the comfort of their offices for you, the tenant or the landowner, to walk in with your problem before they comes in. Do you understand? Yeah. So in this case, until they get a report or someone sends an issue like this to them, they are not moving. And that is where always the friction is.
I see. I mean, it still doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but that's just.
So in this case, a lot of
that's
things
just
are
okay.
supposed to be in place for these things to be able to curb, but it's not happening. And it's part of the things that surges the value of properties in this country.
I see. And then so that means that rent control is not doing its job, and
would
then
say
people
not
are
to
taking advantage
I
of
would
it.
say not to the expectation of ordinary Ghanaians.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. Now, let's get on with economic situations. Now, many of the people who rent these houses or live in these houses, it's a clear fact that the cost of living in Ghana is very high as compared to the cost of living in other West African countries, right? Then when it comes to Ghana, let's taper it down to the cost of living in Accra, which is higher than most of the other cities that we have.
Yeah.
Now, comparing the economic situations of the people, how it is that it looks as though the landowners, the property owners don't seem to get what is going on in the economy. Don't you factor that in your pricing, right? How critical is a state of economy to your pricing?
I would say in economic building, let's say the more money begins to get into the system, or let's say the more the rate of unemployment reduces, that is when affordability of property rises. Do you understand? Mm-hmm. Because when loans are easily accessible and they become cheap, a lot of people are able to buy properties for themselves. And that also puts pressure, or demands of properties gets high, and also affects the value of properties to be increased. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So when the people are not working, or when the unemployment rate is high, it also supposed to lower the value of properties, because a lot of people, there wouldn't be pressure on the properties, and demand will definitely be low. These are the dynamics. So at the end of the day, the more money begins to get into the system, or the more loans are easily accessible, the more a lot of people are able to buy properties, and demand on properties rises.
All right. Okay.
And the more the unemployment rate increases and money becomes scarce in the system, that is when the value for property gets lower, because purchases get low.
I see. So those are the things
These are
that
the
makes
dynamics.
your pricing, but some of them seem to be quite exorbitant.
Yes, because I would say land acquisition plays very important role in value
All right.
of property. Land acquisition, material costs, labor costs, and construction costs. They add big value to the cost of a property, because at the end of the day, all these things play a major role. And if these things are not being manageable by prices, definitely it has to affect the value of the property. And the estate developer or the homeowner is not going to say, because you don't have money, or because I look at your situation, you are unemployed, you are not earning that much, I would give you at this rate when I am losing. No. At the end of the day, all these things must be calculated, comes to play for the prices to be quoted. So it means you need to cut your material according to your size.
I see. Well, mortgages direct impact, okay, they directly impact the affordability of buying a property, low rates, high rates, whatever it is. Let's talk about interest rates. Now, like today, we learned that inflation rates have reduced, interest rates have gone up. So have reduced. So we're looking at economic indicators, okay, microeconomic indicators to help us to do good pricing, because these are the elements of pricing, right, on the market. How does that play in your industry?
Yeah, when it comes to phases like this, it becomes very critical, Because at the end of the day, let's say, as you rightly said, and as I told you, the more money gets to the system and easy accessible of loans and makes a lot of people buy houses and demand goes high. And at this point, when, let's say, mortgage comes in and the foreign currencies we deal with drops for the economy to be stable, it also affects the industry. Why? Because at the end of the day, let's say I've put up about 60 buildings or properties. I bought the materials for this property when prices were high. Cement were high, iron rods were high, labor costs were high, and other petty expenditures. At this time that the dollar is lowered or at a minimum rate, do you expect me to sell it lower or maintain my price? Definitely, I cannot go low. And this is when real estate agencies or real estate developers think, and it becomes headache. Because at the end of the day, everyone is expecting you to reduce your properties because the dollar is reduced. That is what we normally deal with. And at the end of the day, you buying those materials for that particular property wasn't the time the dollar was at a lower rate. So what do? You are compelled to maintain your prices. Are you getting me?
Yeah.
You have nothing to do because you cannot lose. And you wouldn't know what is going to happen next if you lower your prices and the dollar rises again.
Right.
Definitely. So you'll be purged at maintaining your price and look at what is going to happen next. So it also gets dicey.
I see. Let's talk about dollarization. I mean, because you mentioned dollar. We're told it's a Parliament spoke about that. The finance minister had also ruled out at the last budget that he read that quoting of pricing of properties should now be done in Ghana cedis and not in dollar, right? Just so that we're able to fully appreciate
what we have.
The strength of the cedi as against other external currencies. How does that affect your market?
It does, because it does and it doesn't. Because at the end of the day, if let's say the foreign currencies are going to be stable for a long time, it will be a good news. You can maintain your price in cedis equivalent. But in this case that you don't even know when it's fluctuating and you don't even know whether it's going up or down. Let's say if I'm buying my raw materials right from source, from overseas, I cannot use cedi. Are you getting me? You cannot use cedi in purchasing your materials. And even in Ghana here, still some landowners are pricing in dollars. So at the end of the day, if I am doing my business in dollar by purchasing my raw material from outside, paying dollars or let's say euro with interest and other stuff, and it get down here, you expect me to price my properties in cedis? I can quote them in dollars and give you the cedi equivalent, which is automatically going to be high.
Yes, that's very high.
Yes, and that's the only way.
Well, we're still talking about property acquisition right here in Ghana. Some people seem to have the upper hand, and of which the Lord might not even apply to them. But the question is, what is the way forward when it comes to property pricing? When we talk about property, we're talking land, we're talking houses, any property at all that you would want to get, or any asset at all that makes a lot of sense to you. We're going to go for a break, and then when we get back, this is what we'll do. We might open the phone lines for you to ask the right questions. But now when we get back, we'll get into the laws and how, whether we've been implementing them right enough or not. Do stay.